Hey, and welcome to the Deconstructor of Fun podcast. I'm your host, Mishka Katkov, and in this episode, I'm joined by Görkem Türk, the founding partner of Latan Ventures, a new venture capital out of Istanbul, Turkey. Together with Görkem, we're talking about investment strategies, culture in startups, future trends in gaming, market outlook, and platform growth, especially the importance of platform growth on investments. We recorded this episode during GDC live from a hotel room. And if you like us to do more of these recorded video episodes, and if you like what we're about, meaning the Constructor of Fun, give us a thumbs up and a follow on YouTube. It helps with the algorithms and encourages us to do more on-site content, which frankly, I really enjoy meeting people and talking on-site rather than on Zoom calls. Anyways, I know you'll enjoy this episode. Görkem is a great dude, and his fund is really interesting. So, very excited to see what Latan Venture does. Enjoy the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Görkem Türk. Görkem Türk,
Yes,
founding partner of Latan Ventures,
correct.
a new venture capital fund out of the marvelous city of Istanbul. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting. It was a so proper opening.
So some of the past podcasts we've done out of literally trap houses. Now we are in a hotel room because we couldn't find another room, but it is good. But let's not talk about this hotel room or the bed that is right behind us.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the recent success of Latan Ventures and overall Latan Ventures, because you've established this fund quite recently.
Yes.
Less than a year ago, probably half a year, right?
Yeah.
You've gotten 35 million now in investments, assets that you will be investing into the ecosystem, especially probably with a big focus on the Turkish ecosystem.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about the recent successes of starting this up, leaving Google, starting up your own venture fund, making it really nice, really sizable as the first fund and the first investments that you've done.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So, let me just start with a quick background. So before this, I used to work for Google Turkey. I was gaming and startups industry manager. So managing the partnerships and growth consulting with almost all of the gaming founders and executives in the Turkish gaming companies. So the story or the opportunity for me that I have seen to start Latan was two things. The first one is that, Turkish gaming ecosystem is booming, and there was a true need for a bridge who just connects these two worlds, the Turkish gaming ecosystem and the international gaming ecosystem in two ways. These Turkish investors can invest in the companies outside of Turkey, and we can just, bring the know-how of the Turkish gaming ecosystem to the non-Turkish gaming startups as well, and vice versa. Obviously, international investors, we just want to co-invest with them together in the Turkish gaming ecosystem, be like a true local partner, helping them, fostering the collaboration and so on. So this was the number one opportunity area for me to, truly trigger the things to start Latan. And the second one is that, I'm an operator. So I am coming from in Google, my daily job was about UA. Most of the time I was talking about studios, about, UA and also strategies around that. And I truly think that, being an investor who doubles down on operationally supporting the portfolio companies, helping them in the true challenges around user acquisition, around game design, around monetization, and so on. I thought that there might be a room for a fund playing on a global level, doubling down on truly helping studios on a daily level, being daily ally. So simply this was the second opportunity area, which triggered me to start Latan. So as you said, we were quite lucky that it has materialized to a $35 million size of a fund by today, a secured commitment. So, and the story is that more than 20 successful gaming founders and executives have invested in Latan. Some of these people are not only, positioned as sole LPs, but they also give time as advisors to our portfolio companies. So the thing that I have just told you a few minutes ago, I will be not alone in there, or Latan Ventures team will be not alone in there. But imagine that you are receiving a true support, daily support from successful track record, founders and executives of successful gaming companies as well. But some of them only, let's say, positions as LPs. So a few names maybe to mention in here, like who backs Laton in this story among these 20 people. Of course, just a few, like there are stellar names all around. So like CTO of Peak Games, Serdar Şahin, co-founder of Gram Games, exited to Zynga, Mehmet Ecevit, founder of Loop Games, exited games to Eplavin, Mert Gür, and also, let's say, founder of Ruby Games, exited to Rovio, Mert Can Kurum, and so on. Like we have 20 people on board backing us like that.
Awesome. So you've had, of course, LP, limited partner, meaning LP is the either the entity or the person that invests money into a venture capital managed by Görkem called Laton, and that capital is being invested into different companies. Correct. So that when those companies eventually exit, that pays back to the investor. So they're just for people, for like the basics of the venture capital and the deal. Yeah, and it's all about the type of a deal that you get into, because these are not public companies, these are private, high risk, high return companies.
Correct, and pretty early stage.
Exactly. And so in the way you would position your venture fund, what makes Laton unique is you're based out of Turkey, but that's not the only Turkish fund. There are many others. Your fund is predominantly funded by limited partners who are former game founders. Correct. And through that, you have a very strong network of very accomplished individuals who can be helping the companies both inside the Turkey as well as outside Turkey.
Yes.
And also what makes you stand out is you want to both support the local ecosystem, but you also want to take the expertise of the local ecosystem and infuse that into the companies that you might be investing. Like if the company is, let's say, based out of Stockholm, that you may or may not have invested, and exactly. And you are investing in that company, you're also bringing your LP. So if they want to discuss with, let's say, somebody from Peak or Gram, how they were able to go through certain challenges that they had or evolve their company, they get access to that very unique network that no other fund has.
Exactly.
Awesome. So truly an early stage, meaning this is the first check or the second check that you're getting from a venture capital. So pre-seed and seed is the focus. You can lead, you can follow. And how many deals have you done till date?
We have completed 5 deals to date. So actually, majority of them, 3 of them were outside of Turkey. So 2 of them were like Turkish companies. We have completed 5 deals. 4 of them were at pre-seed stage, which means, as you say, like the first no money taken yet, and one of them was seed round.
Nice, very nice. All right, let's talk about what makes a Turkish company. Like why is Turkey such a booming ecosystem for games?
Yeah, like thank you for that question. I think, let me start first with the ecosystem, and then I will just shape you a typical Turkish gaming startup. I think like for Turkey, the main, let's say, 2 reasons for that is that we have old and successful companies who truly, let's say, set tone in some of the very big genres of the market, like, Peak Games and then Gram Games. And these, studios were like schools. So they didn't only develop, let's say, individuals with gaming know-how, but they truly, let's say, shape leaders as well. So we really thank all of them for just, creating this market. Also, Turkey has a very successful studio, called Tailworlds in the PC gaming as well, which also, let's say, pumped through know-how in the PC side to the ecosystem. So that was the one, let's say, reason, just, furnish the ecosystem. The second one is that I think the quality of talent who chooses to work in the gaming industry is so high in Turkey. If you're a fresh graduate out of the school, and if you got graduated from the best universities of Turkey, one of the coolest things that you can do is just to go to a gaming company. Like if you're a top talent, you just simply go to one of the gaming companies most of the time. So these brightest talents, they just choose the gaming industry. And imagine that when just coupled with this know-how coming from these studios of 10 years past decade. And then the third, just let's say, add that fearless, ruthless, like commitment to work, hunger for success, truly enjoying what you do, and then it just bores the success for the ecosystem, I believe.
Hard work leads to success. Oh wow, those are some revelation you're dropping here. No, it's okay. So previous success, that's very important in anything, because when you see people who you can relate to,
Yeah.
in this case, other Turks,
Yes.
and you see them having success, and you're looking at them, I can have success.
Yes.
Like, look at that person, instead of like looking somebody who's on the other side of a continent and imagining their life and so forth. Level of talent. So Turkey is about 90 million people.
Correct.
Relatively high educated, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
And not too many opportunities the way, like, if I understand correctly, it's not like a Western country where there's ton of like these gigantic corporations like the Googles and the Salesforces and those which just take thousands of new graduates in, but you have maybe less or smaller companies. So is that correct?
Well, you still do have offices for most of the multinationals, very good multinationals that you can work at. But I think the gaming industry gives you that dream that one day that you can truly build your globally scaled company.
So there's no, okay, so maybe I put it wrong in a way. It's like there are subsidiaries of these companies, but they're not the HQs.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a different type of a grind if you come through a subsidiary of any Procter & Gamble or Unilever or Google or so forth, than if you're going to their HQ, whether that is in Paris or whether that is in Silicon Valley or so forth.
Yeah.
And with gaming, you're at the HQ. You're right away.
You're truly at the
You're
HQ.
truly leading everything, all the strategy and so forth.
Yes.
And then hard work. I would say, I wrote on LinkedIn this thing that where I was just trying to think about like what makes Turkish companies so unique. And I tried to more focus on the founders that I've been interacting with from Turkey, and this sort of like a humble, hungry, and smart seems to be, in my eyes, the type of a combination that I see. The humility is very interesting part, because even though the companies from Turkey are very successful, even though it is the hotbed, the ecosystem going on, I still get that humility of the founders of like, what do I not know?
Yeah.
And what, like, not being like, I know everything, which is happening in many Western ecosystems. It's like, we know it. I come from Rockstar. I come from Activision. I know everything. I don't need to hear anything. But you guys are incredibly humble and kind of constantly asking like, what do I not know?
Definitely.
The hungry part is clear. There's reasons why people are so hungry for success and so forth. I don't think the life is as automated as in many Western countries, where you go to this school, then you go to that place, then you go to McKinsey, and then after McKinsey you go to the local industry, and then you do this and you get that, and then you're in retirement, and then your life is over. But it's more like you have to craft your life. Hustle, exactly. And in this type of a setting, the success that the game companies have been having is so monumental. Where people can see like, if I put in insane amount of work, I can actually change everybody's life around me.
Yes. I think that was a good way to put that.
And then the last part is like what I think really makes Turkey unique is how smart people are. And I don't mean in the sense like the universities they go through or maths or science, but I mean more from the perspective of, if you look at the genres and the type of games that Turkey is making, it makes sense. Like they are good in terms of a genre where you can have enough success. It's good in terms of the games are not too difficult to make. Like you're playing against your talent all the time, against the funds you have, against all these elements, rather than like, hey, we are gonna make the next AAA MOBA or like whatever we love to play, because when we make this cool game, everybody will play it because we're so creative and we just want to bring something amazing to the market. I constantly feel that the Turks are more like, we're going to make something successful in the market as a business, rather than like starting from like creation first. It's business first.
Yes, that's very good point actually. Like I think the bar for commercial mindset is really hard in Turkey, really high in Turkey. But I think what makes it special is that in the successful companies, that usually couples with also creative mindset as well. So they were really intentional in harmonizing that commercial mindset to scale huge businesses, that's first, but also just they don't forget at all what at the core of this industry, that's creativity, just crafting joy, and they try to intentionally, let's say, harmonize that in a pot. And also one, let's say, word that I personally like to use for Turkish talent, especially in the digital industries like gaming, etc., is street smart. So street smart, like
hustle and street smart. I like it.
like finding, like what I mean is that finding truly practical ways to, let's say, hack the system in a scalable way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that makes, in my, like, as an, when investing or when talking, like, it makes conversation so much easier because we're both thinking about the business. I know that, I talk to a lot of Western founders, many successful ones, and I'll be asking, like, so what's your growth strategy for this one? Like, how are you expecting? It's like, listen, ultimately, I'm making a game that I want to play. I'm like, okay. It's like, and it's not that it might be phenomenal, but it is really tied to that creativity of the founder, of everything. And you're essentially putting a whole bet on, I will build it and they will come, which is really scary. And that's why I like with the Turkish mindset, it's like how can we not only make this game incredibly engaging, well crafted in the right place, investments in the right place, but also commercially successful, because that in the end that is important because that will keep the companies alive. That will make sure that we have employees. That will make sure that everybody has a nice exit, and VCs included. So that's really good for VCs when your companies have a commercial mindset. You speak the same language rather than pretending that that the money also is interested in creativity. You're interested in creativity that leads to money. Let's be honest. Not to it's rough way to say, but ultimately just to make point. It's not that we don't care about creativity. When you manage other people's money, they expect you to return more than they gave you. So you're responsible to think about the financial outcome. So in this conversation, when we talk about financial outcome, it is Görkem's job to give back more money than he was given to. He can't be saying like, hey, we want many prizes, but you lost all your money.
No.
So,
and having that creativity at the core is part of returning that money.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's at the essence of just evaluating it.
Yeah, so a little bit cold way to think about it, but you have to be innovative. You have to have games that stand out, but you have to also have commercially successful. You can't separate those two.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about so Turkish companies work hard, talented, hungry, humble. Previous success is showing the way. What are the sort of exciting trends that you see as a VC now that you started up your own fund? You probably had an idea of what type of investments you would do and how they'd be successful. But what are the trends that you're seeing now? Because I feel like things are changing quite quickly.
Yeah. Like, very good question. I think, like, we are trying to just evaluate it in a global scale, what's happening in the market, where we should invest, etc., which genres, which products, which platforms, which we should invest independent of the borders, let's say. So I think like one area that really excites us the most is the social first experiences, let's say social element integrated games in the mobile platform. Maybe like one step back, like first of all, like as Laton, obviously with all these, background and know-how coming from mobile, let's say first companies, like we are a bit at the optimistic part of the spectrum about mobile versus the rest of the industry. We still think that there are opportunities to create scalable businesses in mobile. But if we just want to dive into which parts of the mobile platforms like that we want to invest, I think like having social elements in the games that will truly, let's say, set apart the products from the rest of the crowd. For instance, again, that this company we have invested in Germany, it was a social first game, let's say social integration triggering and driving game. And these guys have just reached out to 6-figure revenue per month really fast, quite fast, that we are not used to in the typical mobile scene. That's one thing to have. But like besides, we still think that the bar to let's say create good games, like good quality games, executing games, there is still room for execution in many more, let's say, genres in the mobile. That's one part. We truly acknowledge the wave, especially in Turkey, in the PC platform as well. I truly want to see that, Laton will be investing in PC platform as well. We have a true success story, BattleBit, coming out of Turkey.
BattleBit was out of Turkey?
Yes, that's a Turkish studio.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is what I mean by smart.
Yeah.
Like this is exactly what I mean. It's there is a commercial success, there is that area, and then you use your strength. You're not like, how can we make better 3D assets than Call of Duty?
Yeah.
No, we go to all the way to the opposite direction and capture the market that they left behind.
Yeah. Like, I think that non-IP games popping up at that scale, Pal Worlds and so on, BattleBit, that really excites me. And also in Turkey, we are seeing more and more quality teams around PC. But with that said, still our expertise is mobile. Probably we will take our time to craft our strategy in the PC side, but we will be definitely backing teams from all over the world, not only in Turkey, around that.
I've seen some Turkish companies, I forgot the name, but they were releasing a simulation game on PC.
Yeah, that was successful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've heard of Heroic Labs by now, and we keep talking about them because in today's mature market, you need every edge to be successful. Rather than spending those precious company dollars on building game tech, focus on building your game and shipping it. Get into your players' hands faster and grow your community. Heroic Labs is battle-tested partner and friend of the podcast. Their tech enables you to be flexible, creative, and scale for success. Heroic Labs has your tech stack covered. Whether you're looking for a world-class back-end game server, an amazing game development framework, fantastic live ops tooling, or reliable mass scalability, Heroic Labs has solutions for all of these challenges. And it's not just us at Deconstructor of Fun praising Heroic Labs. The company works with some of the world's biggest publishers on many of the beloved games. Focus on your game, save a big chunk of cheese, and avoid tech risks with Heroic Labs. This podcast is brought to you by Data AI. Now, you're asking, didn't they get acquired by Sensor Tower? They did, and that's awesome. Here's why. Whether you loved using Data.ai or Sensor Tower, the combined company will offer customers even stronger and more detailed insights on the full digital customer journey. Exciting times lie ahead as Sensor Tower and Data AI join forces. Go to Data.ai or SensorTower.com and get on board with undeniably the best data partner in the business. Now, back to the episode.
So Turkey is like, low key going into like being successful in PC as well right now.
Yeah.
With that smart strategy of taking over, not changing how they work for PC, but like the same approach of let's not overinvest, let's be smart about it, let's use the let's just capture the right markets rather than going head to head against the biggest companies.
Yeah. So if I want to re-summarize, where we see opportunities and where we invest, first, social integrated games, social first, let's say apps, social feature backed apps, that kind of stuff. So the areas where we think that the potential can be tapped with a higher execution bar, I don't know, being it in puzzle, being it in RPG, like I'm talking still about mobile first, we will definitely be backing teams who we think that, that can truly create a massive product with a stellar execution quality. And the third one is innovative projects and themes around PC platform.
Got it. Makes sense. So social elements and PC. And you also mentioned apps. So will you be doing app investments?
Well, yeah, that will not be the focus, obviously, but if we see areas which we think the synergies are so high with the gaming that we bring this, Laton's unique help model, work in that areas, I don't know, maybe consumer apps, social consumer apps, maybe non-gaming utility apps, we might be investing in there. So it will not be the focus, but if we think that we can synergize with our know-how in gaming, we will be investing in that categories as well.
So gamification.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, so pretty broad. But and usually when it comes to this, like an early stage fund like yours does a very broad portfolio because the check sizes are a little bit smaller and because you're investing pre-product.
Yeah.
And that means that your investment criteria, yes, it's to some extent it is about areas of investments like social elements, PC, apps. But in reality, when you're evaluating companies, you're evaluating the team.
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you evaluate the team?
Yeah, let's put that first. As you say, probably 70% or 75% of the criteria will be around founders and team. Although in the former question we have discussed the excitement areas, still independent of area, we will first look at the team. We will never cancel out a good team or a stellar team just because of the genre that they are trying to tackle.
Because they go super indie.
It depends. That's the answer you give in these questions. Like it
Then you
always
will
depends.
circle back.
Yeah. You never say no. Like
Circle back.
because you never know. Truly, like you truly see the deal by deal. But
they will keep you in the loop.
let's not go in there. So the criteria about the team that we check while we're evaluating the team. First, the vision. Like can they truly create a big company, as we have discussed with you before? The commercial vision, the creative magic. I think that's an intangible thing that got to create experiences that people can enjoy, which is very hard to assess at the very, let's say, early stage. That's why that you like people coming out of companies truly in the decision-making, positions did that before, because that signals you that guy has that gut. People sometimes, ask why always X this team got this investment X, because you're investing in pre-product. You kind of have some sort of signal that there is this criteria of magic and gut. So yeah, that's the second criteria. The third criteria, again, is the level of execution. Can these guys truly execute the genre that they intend to, let's say, tap into? And the fourth one is always commitment, never give up, which we quite, feel lucky about the Turkish talent again, but also like in the Turkish, non-Turkish companies, that will be something we will be looking at.
Got it. So combination of magic and gut.
Let's say commercial vision.
Oh, commercial.
And magic gut.
Got it. Magic gut. Oh, magic gut. That's a good one.
Yeah, creative
okay,
magic.
magic and commercial. Let's put it this way. Okay, got it. Ability to execute against the type of a genre or type of the game they're doing. Having the commitment and grit.
Yes, no give up.
To run a startup.
Yeah, for years.
This is the toughest one, the commitment and grit. I talked to too many startups, having a few investments. It's,
I know.
It's the long stare.
I know,
After 5 years, it's like, how are we still here? Help us to sell this. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Makes sense. I'm going to ask you some more questions. So when you go through and you think about like the X this and X that, a lot of the time, the most successful startups are actually not X something.
Correct.
But they are just people who have gelled together really well. They're not dream teams.
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to kind of go a little bit around this because we were at the A16Z speedrun event.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like seeing this American version
I was there as well.
Super American. It was so American. It was a culture shock. Coming in as we're European investors.
Yeah.
With all the jokes that go into it. I'm not saying better or worse. But
I admire the presentation.
Yeah, but we are very different. And one thing that I've noticed in this American investment scene is the all-star teams. And they put in like, this person has worked in companies X, Y, and Z. This person is from that. And this person, it's like everybody as an individual is amazing. Yeah. But I'm always like, but they haven't worked together. And now you put them all together and you present me an all-star team. But that's not how things work.
Correct.
Like it's much more important that they've known each other for a long time, to me at least, because I know that they know what each of them can execute against.
Yes.
But most importantly, they have that alignment.
Yeah.
And they will stay committed and they will grit it out because they've been together for such a long time. But if you're only getting together to get the loot, to get the bag, and then when the hard time hits, why are you all working together? Yeah. Well, I thought this is going to be just a push to the top, but it's never linear.
Yeah.
So what's your perspective on like the dream team approach?
I think you really made a good point. Like if you're a fund, you only invest solely just looking at, these are X, you will have a hard time probably to have a hit ratio of a high. So I think it's at the end of the day finding something that can de-risk that ambiguity and vagueness at the pre-product stage. You need to hold on a branch, let's say, that de-risks or let's say that makes a principle-based decision making for your process at the pre-product stage. Be it a X dream, like I'm not talking about dream, like a dream team, X, Y, Z. So if these guys have worked together before, as you have, correctly mentioned, I think that's one of the best scenarios, right? These guys have done something before together and you can truly see what they have built. Yeah. And now if they say something that can just, a transferable know-how that they will build, then that risks your decision-making process as a fund. But it doesn't mean that, again, like if these guys are just coming from separate companies, all good names, but A, these guys were not in decision-making processes in those companies. B, they don't know each other, as you say. They just met 2 weeks ago. That doesn't risk my, let's say, personally, at least mine, decision-making process. With that said, I think backing teams, as you, let's say, correctly mentioned again, is that backing teams without any background, one of the biggest success stories in the gaming industry has came from that teams, right? For instance, as far as I know, founders of Riot, founders of quite a few successful, gaming companies, biggest game companies in the world, founders are not coming from gaming theme, but still, as an early stage fund who have liability against their limited partners, against their investors, who have to explain their decision-making processes to their, let's say, investors in some sense, they have to have that branch. Maybe they are not coming from stellar companies, but they have worked together before. Yeah. They have built some product before. Something that you need to see to de-risk your ambiguity and vagueness at that level. Yeah.
I understand 100% why investors put in these big checks at X Riot, X Blizzard, because it is safe. Even though we can see based on traction that is not the right way to go. Yeah. But it is safe. It's like nobody will fault you and say, hey, why did you invest in this team from Riot? It's like they will say that if a team sucks and they don't have any background and the company goes bankrupt, they will, come after you. But if it's a Riot team, then
Still, like to reiterate, I don't think it's a good investment strategy to solely just check the background, X, Y, X, Z, and you invest. I think it's just, as you say, it's so safe that you are not likely to create a huge amount of return, which is expected in the VC. You have to believe in your gut in some way to back teams without that background. But still, I think it's a portfolio of diversification. Like you shouldn't be, in my at least personal opinion, you shouldn't be solely backing teams without any background, full risk. But you shouldn't also solely be backing teams just X, Y, Z. It should be a harmony of both. It also depends, right, what you see, like what you access to. But I think you have to trust in your gut as an investor and to just, let's say, go for it.
Yeah, especially in the early on. That's 100% true. Yeah, the gut feeling is surprisingly big of a thing when you're trusting teams. Like there's a lot of diligence that goes with everything, but yeah, the gut feeling is big. Yeah. I was a certain Turkish founder that I've invested in his company, and I'd seen him before, but he saw me yesterday. He was kind of like asking this and that, and then he said to me like, you know what? I can see that you're still hungry. I can see that you're hungry 100 meters away. I'm like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I see that as well.
It's like, you're not done yet.
That
was funny, but I guess those are the type of the gut feelings that you get. And because that's another thing that you have to keep in mind when you're bringing very, very successful people and funding their new companies, is like how hungry they are. Yeah. If you exited your company, you've made 10 million or so forth, or you made such a gigantic game where you don't even have to prove yourself anymore. Like you made X, you name the game.
Correct.
Then why are you still doing this? What are the likelihood you're going to make a bigger game?
Yeah.
And what
Fair
like
question.
the big question is like why? What is driving you anymore? I hate this Simon Sinek why. It's more like, but you have to understand, like you don't need to go through the most difficult thing that a founder can do. Yeah. I actually, just now that I remembered, there's so many dinners and whatnot. I was sitting next to a legendary game maker. We're talking about like 30 years making the games we've all played. Yeah. And he was talking about his latest company. He was just like how incredibly difficult it has been going, like pulling teeth. And you're like, yeah, that's startup. It doesn't matter who you are, what type of games you've made in before, it is always incredibly difficult.
It is,
and if you go into a point where you don't per se need it, you can just say in the middle like, you know what? Fuck all of you. Yeah. I don't need this shit. Yeah. You understand what I've done before? I need none of this shit, and I'm done. It's so easy to quit when you're in a good place.
Definitely. Like in my job at Google, Mishka, I have worked with more than 50 founders for, let's say, almost 5 years. Mm-hmm. So I have truly, let's say, witnessed their psychological journeys as well. Ups, downs, success stories, fail stories. You were also founder by yourself as well, you know better than me, but like it is one of the hardest job. It doesn't mean that success for everybody means being a founder. It's really a unique way of lifestyle and choice.
Yeah, it drives people crazy.
Yeah.
I can say that. Like, there's nobody who has met founders and be like, oh, that guy is, or gal is like totally up and up. Like, no, it's a emotional roller coaster.
But
so
also very satisfying. Very, very
could
satisfying.
be. Let's just put it this way: it is character building.
Yes.
All the good and bad sense. Definitely do not recommend it to anybody. But yes, going forward from there. So we talked about evaluation, and something that I'm very curious, and something that we kind of touched upon. Maybe we can discuss it a little bit further.
Yeah.
Is like, what are the elements that make a successful gaming company? I think we've danced around it, but what do you think they are?
Yeah. I think being lean and efficient in all your processes are super important. Yet, still, you know, efficiency does not come with a sacrifice of creating a decent company log of know-how, you know. You need to stack experiences on top of each other going forward in your journey, still not sacrificing being lean and efficient. I think that's not only financially important in terms of, you know, OPEX, etc., blah, blah, but also it stretches people to their fullest potential to think street smart, you know. Like when you know, have to be lean and efficient. I think it's, especially in current market, it's super important. The second one, which we don't know how, is again this creative magic, creative gut. You know, I think it's unique with every company. Every company has its own magic in some persons or individuals sitting in that company. I'm talking about game design when we say creative magic, obviously. That's experience, core experience. I think that's the second one. And the third one, it's a bit cliche, but obviously culture. Like the greatest companies I have seen personally was also the ones who have most of the time, greatest cultures in some way. Like having a great culture does not have the same meaning or a single meaning, in my opinion. You know, company A with culture A, company B with culture B, like they are totally different, can be each other, but like still it somehow nurtures the way of working or way of success in that company. I don't know if founders are intentionally most of the times in this creating culture. Most of the times they are, but sometimes it just happens by itself maybe. But that would be the third element, I would say, for a successful gaming company.
Yeah. Okay. So lean and efficient, effective and profitability focused, probably, or getting to the green. No.
Stretching yourself to make whatever you make in the most efficient way.
Because as a startup, you have to make choices. You can't be that everything is possible, which happens in a corporation.
Yeah.
And you have to think what is important and do only those things.
Yeah.
Okay. Creativity is vital. Like you cannot succeed without being innovative, whether it's on marketing front or distribution front, whether it's on the product front or both, or any other front where you can get an edge. It requires creativity.
Hey game devs, are you tired of dealing with complicated payment processes all over the world? Well, Xola's got your back with Xola PayStation. It has a simple, user-friendly interface that makes it easy for players to pay for your games and in-game content however they want. And because the Xola PayStation user interface is adaptive and accessible on smartphones, tablets, and PCs, your players will have a seamless experience no matter their preferred device. Players can save their favorite payment methods for future purchases, and on mobile, even charge purchases directly to their phone carrier bill. On the back end, you can customize your checkout with game-specific integration options like sidebars and iframes, as well as change colors, fonts, and images to make PayStation look and feel like a natural part of your game. Ready to see Xola's PayStation in action? Visit xola.pro/payments-DOF or visit the link in this podcast description. The games industry is experiencing unprecedented growth, with global revenues projected to reach a staggering $268 billion by 2025. But with more players than ever connecting across platforms and devices, how can your game stand out against the competition? AppsFlyer has created AppsFlyer for Games to help you unlock your players' true LTV by providing a wealth of game measurement solutions, unique industry insights, and proven best practices. Our dedicated hub is packed with innovative products, industry partnerships, and unrivaled expertise to ensure your game game brand adapts and thrives. We understand that every game is unique, and AppsFlyer's data-driven insights allow us to cater to your specific needs. We know that in today's evolving landscape, staying ahead of the curve is crucial. Trust in AppsFlyer for Games to guide you through this exciting journey. We have the tools, the knowledge, and the passion to help you succeed in this ever-expanding landscape. Together, we'll conquer new worlds, both real and fantasy, break records, and create gaming experience that leave a lasting impact. Get in touch with AppsFlyer for Games today and unleash your game's true potential. AppsFlyer for Games, supercharging the gaming landscape.
The culture is an interesting part. I've been thinking about this a lot, reading, look at that. Up, down, up.
Kim Nordstrom?
Kim Nordstrom
Yeah.
on the table.
We love Kim.
So reading a lot of, shout out
Yeah.
to Kim Nordstrom and Up, Down, Up book. It's a very interesting topic because pretty much every successful company has a great culture.
Yeah,
And I'm like, that's not true.
that's not true.
Because if I look at the top most valuable companies in the world, Microsoft, not known for
The culture.
the culture. It's not like, oh my God, Microsoft, give me a book about Microsoft's culture. I need to learn that.
Yeah.
It's a corporation,
Yeah,
gigantic corporation. Apple, not known for a great culture. Even like you read their old school management books, you're like, oh shit, like Steve Jobs days. And even like since like it is not, it's a brutal culture in many sense. It's a winning culture, 100%. But it's not what we perceive as, oh my God, I wish Steve Jobs was my boss. I wish I could say hi to him today. This is an example. And doing that, the company was doing the best it has ever done. We can go forward, we can talk about McKinsey's of the world, and they might have a culture that is ruthless. It is a culture that allows them to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily what we would characterize as a good culture.
Yeah, I think it's the scale part. It's totally up to scale. It really differs between scale as well. Like when we talk about from zero to hero, let's say, from taking a startup to a really valuable company. I think in that first journey, like at least for the companies I have seen, the culture was really important. But I'm also an ex-Googler. When you come to that scale, that's really something else. I think the importance of the culture in the plate, it's a so deeper conversation, I think, for that kind of a scale of company.
It is.
We entered the phase of the discussion that I need to, speak carefully.
Well, it is a corporation, and I'll give an example. Like I work with Google naturally, no secret, and I work with different Google countries. And different people and so forth. So
was it different?
It's very, very different. Working with Google Turkey is very different than working with Google Mountain View.
But Google Turkey was the best, right?
Yes.
Hello, Google Turkey.
Hello. Merhaba.
Merhaba.
And then the same thing, like working with Google Mina. Same thing. Like, again, like you, but I always try to get to know the people. And then I work with the people, not with the corporation. I don't want to work
You're
with
totally right, by the way.
And sometimes there's difficulties with the way the corporation operates, but never the difficulties with the people in that corporation, and you have great relationships.
I agree.
But I mean the culture, like I never work particularly on the culture topic. I'm not the type of a person you should be asking about that. I'm more saying to them like, you need to build a team around you, how you want this to run. Because we've invested into you. And don't change that. Do what you need to do. If you need to be product focused, and if you need to drive that product forward, and if you start hiring people who say no, like don't come to the product, it's gonna be randomizing us, the wrong people. Because if product is your main expertise, then I need you to use that main expertise on that front. Don't listen to the sort of a contemporary books of leadership, how it needs to happen. They might work for you, or they might be counterproductive. But most importantly, like in an early phase of a startup, the company has to be built around that founder.
Definitely. I think culture is a set of behaviors of the leaders of that company who are founders for that 20 people group, right?
Yes.
That culture is not a very deep topic when we say culture for a startup. It's just a set of behaviors of founders.
And I have like when I'm going through pitches with certain companies and they are very much into the contemporary. Let me talk about the culture because Kim wrote about a book about culture. He says culture is the most important thing. So my deck is going to be all about culture. And I was like, listen, I don't care. Because unless you reach profitability, this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And before you reach profitability, your way, like, you might even pivot the whole company of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So the values that you set, the ways of working that you set,
Agree.
they need to be tied to the product that you believe is going to succeed in the market. And you need to get there the most efficient way.
Yeah.
I don't care how you write about this. Because chances are that halfway through, you'll hit a wall and you might be doing something else.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with these values that are designed for this product? So for me, it's always like been like, you see the goal, build the culture, like the ways of working need to be so that they fit how you want to work so that you can reach that spot.
Yeah.
And then when you reach that spot where you're generating, you have a product market fit, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Then you can start thinking about the culture. Okay, we found what we actually doing.
Definitely.
Now let's build the ways of working that supports what our company is doing. Because you don't know that before you are actually there.
Yeah, like exactly. You know, when you say culture, you need to materialize it. You need to be concrete. It should not be fluff.
Like start with a why. How we're gonna change the world. It's like I don't care.
Definitely.
You need to get profitable or you die.
You know, when I say definitely, when I say culture, I just mean, you know, how you approach daily tasks, how fast you are, how friendly you are, you know, how you, let's say, teach something to each other as a theme, and how resilient you are when soft launch fails simply. I think that's the culture, not like why establish. That's very important, by the way, what you are doing, why, but when you scale.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's so not diminishing any of these aspects, but sometimes people just read books like that are written by people who have in many ways reached the pinnacle, and they talk about the journeys and the impact of the culture and how it was set. Very important, but in my opinion, it's just something that you start focusing on only after you reach product market fit.
Yeah.
If you do that too early, you spend valuable time on something that is away from product market fit, and you will die if you don't have that. Okay. All right. Well, that was easy to agree on. Anyways, so let's talk about genres and niches. So I think we kind of talked about it. Yeah, it's PC that. Let's talk about then the future. This is the most interesting part. So there's a lot of stuff on AI. I mean, we were just at the speed run. Every second pitch was about AI. I feel like now if you come in with an AI pitch, investors are gonna not even have it.
Yeah.
I feel like you come in, you're like, hey, we're doing 3D AI. It's like, oh, okay, next. It's like it's a little bit too late.
Yeah.
But what are you seeing on the market? Like, what is the future of gaming? Like, what are you looking at here?
Yeah, well, like first of all, I feel like I have established Laton Ventures in a time which is super exciting yet super terrifying. I constantly feel like we are at the edge of a paradigm shift for this stuff. But I think, in my opinion, still people are a bit, let's say, shooting too far away before just collecting the low-hanging fruits. So in my opinion, AI obviously is very important, but now it's like a buzzword, like I don't like it. Like none of, by the way, investor fellows, like also fellow investors that I talk to, like good VCs, they don't also like it when you just put that AI in an unnatural way to that pitch deck. But still, we truly acknowledge that it will change things. It will change things in a huge way. I personally believe, or let's say we personally believe at Laton, the first area that AI will tackle is the efficiency around game production and the processes. Like for instance, like art asset production, that sort of stuff. We have invested in
QA,
that kind of stuff. Yeah, QA, that kind of all the processes that you have. Localization, whatever it is. But like the core design, we have talked a lot today about that creative magic, that gut, designing the game, optimizing it. I think it will stay with active human touch for a very long time. That we have, when I say very long time, I'm not talking about a decade, of course, but like I think it will not be the part that will change first. It's an hypothesis at the end of the day, and it doesn't mean that we will not be backing or we will not be investing in the teams tackling the core game design with the AI as well. But I personally think that it will come late on the, let's say, flow before it will be processes. Still, again, I truly optimistic about the social part. I think the socialization is underserved in the gaming ecosystem in general. We will be seeing more and more games and apps around, let's say, trying to fulfill the need to socialize, giving that experience in a much more social way, no matter what you play or do. I think that's one trend that will definitely go. And we are at the edge of, Mishka, I'm really excited, like gamers, number of players is at the record all-time high, 3.5 billion or something.
Increasing
projected
all the time.
like 2025. Like people are always playing the doom and gloom, but the venture capital money is at its heights in the gaming industry, the raised capital. I think the future optimistic, like there are so many potential, and I'm quite optimistic about backing and supporting innovative teams who just sets the execution bar to a very high level. To reiterate that, I think when we say the industry is tougher, I think the bar for founding team quality and the execution quality is way higher versus 4 or 5 years ago. You can't get away.
Versus 2 to 3 years ago.
Versus even 2 to 3 years ago, as you say, like you can't get away with marketing efficiencies anymore. You have to have a stellar product. But if you can find that team who can create that stellar product above that new bar, which is very high, I think the opportunities are tremendous in the gaming industry for the future.
Got it. So if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I have an interesting social AI app," that's like you're like, that's up your alley. So pitch Görkem on AI plus social.
No. I will let's say re-clarify. I truly need to see something which is tangible and exciting enough.
Of course.
But social things I am exciting.
And so basically you're seeing this as we're having a market turn that is cyclical, as in any industry.
Yeah.
Most industries go through cycles. We haven't seen a cycle in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And this is the downturn. We're not out of the woods.
Yeah.
But the number of, I think they call it secular tailwinds, is, I think that's what Himal said in the Goldman Sachs podcast.
It's a Goldman Sachs.
That's the Goldman Sachs term, secular tailwinds. Yeah. Meaning, so secular tailwinds, what it means is the fundamentals of the industry are so strong that if you zoom out, this is just a downturn. There's no certain type of a change, fundamental change, that will make gaming obsolete.
Yeah.
Or that will make gaming to turn down. As you said, the number of players is constantly increasing. Yeah. The number of invested capital is increasing. Yeah. Yes, there is a current downturn, which is due to many reasons, whether it's the privacy, whether it's the inflation rates, whether it is the changes of user behavior going from lockdowns back to activities, whether it's geopolitical issues that are directly or indirectly causing these things. Yeah. All these elements are affecting and causing a downturn.
Yes.
But once the downturn ends, the economy picks up again, which it always will. Yeah. Then we're going to see unprecedented growth.
Yeah, I think it's a very good time, very opportunistic time to start or back businesses. And also the level of collective know-how and experience of the gaming industry at 2024, it's at the height, like versus a decade ago, like very smart individuals got super experiences in great companies and they are trying to tackle and innovate in an industry which just, reaches out to billions of people. Yeah. I think the opportunities are tremendous and we will be supporting them.
The most important thing for our industry is platforms. Yeah. Like which platform will grow or become big, because mobile allowed the most of the growth. Yeah. Now we kind of don't, like, now it seems mobile growth days are behind us for good, forever. Yeah. I mean, it will be growing. It is still gigantic industry. It's still much more profitable than most of the entertainment or even all of the entertainment. But it's just not going to grow like 10% a year anymore. And there will be something else, but that doesn't mean that there won't be companies that won't get that same type of a success. So you're still operating in a very, very big industry.
Yeah. And still you can have truly innovative products which can truly make their space.
Yeah, like Monopoly Go.
Yeah.
Royal Match.
I love Royal Match example, and I truly.
Of course you do.
Of course, yeah. But I love the team as well. Like hello to everyone from. But the thing is that people are not aware of that. Royal Match reached out this scale without, let's say, significantly cannibalizing the main rivals. Candy Crush is also, let's say, record high. Yeah. All the match trees most of the match trees have grown, so on. So. And Monopoly Go, as you say, they come, and they didn't steal probably share, rather than they created their share in the industry. So that's why that I think as a platform, mobile can still grow with the good companies as well.
Exciting times.
Yes.
Exciting times with Turkey.
Yeah.
Exciting times with Laton Ventures.
Yeah.
Growing, signing companies.
Yeah.
I'm super happy for you, Görkem. I think it's we can't say that you are already a great investor, but I think you will make a great investor.
Hopefully. I will try my best.
Yeah,
I will try my
you
best.
will. Don't be humble. Actually, you're Turkish. You have to be humble. Thank you for doing this podcast. Truly a pleasure. And for everybody, Laton Ventures, Laton
Yes.
VC.
Yeah, Laton Ventures. Yeah, Laton Ventures.
Just Google that.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for investment and you want to tap into the Turkish know-how, this is the fund.
Yes. Thank you for that.
On that note, thank you, Görkem.
Thank you, Mishka.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you for everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.